My name is Lou Haney. I originally am from Decatur, Alabama, but I currently live in Charlottesville, Virginia. I have a BA in studio art from Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, and an MFA in painting from Claremont Graduate University in Claremont, California. I currently, besides maintaining a painting practice, I teach at Piedmont, Virginia Community College, Sweetbriar College, and Buford Middle School. So my work in general, I am a painter, so that is sort of the lens throughout the way that I see the world. I do other things. I do make drawings and prints and do some textile art, but I really approach it as a painter. So my work, my painting is really about lots of colors, sharp edges, lots of details, and I'm thinking about domestic interiors. I'm inspired by vintage materials that I sort of, I have a collection of magazines and books, and then I take sort of things from one thing and from another, and then some things also from my own camera roll, and combine them to create these paintings, which are somewhat these nostalgic, decorative, innate worlds that I've created. So this show that is opening at Hillier is sort of in reaction to current events. So a lot was coming at me when I started this body of work in January 2025, and thinking about DC, thinking about kind of this idea of a retreat. So the word retreat I think is really interesting because it means both to if you're in a battle, things coming at you, you're both kind of leaving, but it also can mean sort of a vacation. So it has these sort of dual meanings where it's both negative and positive in the same way. And so I imagine this body of work as a visual retreat, a visual sort of leaving one situation and for another. And in particular, I was scrolling around on social media as you want to do, and I came across a bunker in Las Vegas. So apparently in the late 70s, early 80s, there was an executive or the owner of Avon Cosmetics, and he, inspired by about the events of the late 70s, decided that he needed a bunker. He needed a retreat. So he built it underneath the streets of Las Vegas. And it's very much a house that is sort of mid-century and kind of a brick ranch house, complete with a pool, complete with views from all of his different vacation homes. And so thinking about, okay, what would my bunker look like? What kind of exteriors would I want to see if I could completely engineer those? So this, for instance, is the kitchen in the bunker. And one thing that I think is really interesting is just sort of like, tile countertops. But the view I switched out to be a view from Western North Carolina, because I thought that would be something to see sort of the sunrise every day. Would be kind of a, if you got to pick what view you wanted, that might be a view I was interested in picking. So this painting is also inspired by the bunker. And one thing that I really loved about it and thought was super interesting was, what would your outdoor space look like if you had to commit to one exterior, supposedly depending on how long you needed to retreat, how long that would be. So that we've got a pool, we've got sort of fake Disneyland rocks. And then the other thing that I really loved was the trees that were sort of that hit the ceiling. And then we also have like the plugs, because ultimately you're inside. Another little Easter egg was thinking about what kind of art you might have if only your closest friends or family share this space with you. So if you were not necessarily on the up and up, maybe you would have some art that was stolen or lost. And so that was really fun to kind of pick and choose. I also teach art history, so I love to sort of delve into the archives and find paintings that have been lost and nobody knows where they are. So this was a Van Gogh that's been lost. I think this one is a Matisse. But I was kind of playing around with not only what my nature would look like, but what would I want to live with in the space. So this show is really about escape. So hopefully viewers will kind of find it an interesting visual escape from 2025, right? They have some connection to the past. They're interested in the colors and the patterns. And so it becomes both a visual experience. I tend to think of my work sort of like an iceberg. And so the colors and the shapes and the objects are really at the tippy top. Everybody can kind of see those. But the conceptual ideas around excess and consumerism and about mediated images, about art history, all of those are sort of under the surface or are the foundation for all of the colors and the drinks and the patterns and the cars and whatever you see in the paintings, you know, it's just part of a larger conversation about escapism and nostalgia that I'm interested in having. So future, I want to paint more. So I love making the paintings, but it's also really wonderful to show the paintings, and then you can get to have some really interesting conversations. So I would like to have more shows in places that are new to me. DC, Philadelphia, I'd love to have another show in New York. Residencies, I'd love to do. I've done several residencies, but I'm sort of entering a new phase in my life where I might have a little bit more space to do those. So that would also be really great.